Hi everyone. It is Sine Die, the last day of the Texas legislative session, and we want to say thank you for participating in our final call to action of the 89th regular session, which was on HB 4, the major assessment and accountability bill that we saw in the legislature this session. We had over 3,300 people participate in this call to action. And this late in the game, when many of you had already participated in previous calls to action, that's a really strong number to be able to produce. Here's what happened with HB 4. It went to a conference committee between the House and the Senate, where small groups of legislators from both chambers tried to resolve the differences between the House version and the Senate version of the bill. We learned late Saturday night that those negotiations were not successful, and the conference committee failed to file a report, effectively ending the chances for passing assessment and accountability reform this session. This is obviously a disappointing result, but I want to take a moment to put the work that we've done on assessment and accountability in context. Because I think when we step back and think about the road that we've taken to get here, it's a little bit more encouraging picture, and we're well positioned to move forward in the next session. Raise Your Hand started its Measure What Matters campaign on assessment and accountability in the fall of 2021, after the 87th legislative session, when we heard from principals and educators across the state that even in the midst of COVID lockdowns, the most challenging state level education policy issue they faced was the pressure that came from an accountability system that relied too much on one test on one day. We began by listening to Texans all across the state about what makes for a good school, whether or not they had confidence in the STAR, and what our accountability system should look like moving forward. By the time we went to the 88th legislative session in 2023, we saw a bill, House Bill 4402, that made some modest but meaningful improvements to our accountability system. That bill passed out of the House with over 100 votes, but it didn't go anywhere in the Senate. And of course, for a bill to become a law, it has to pass both chambers of the legislature, the House and the Senate, before heading to the governor's desk to be signed. This session, we saw HB 4, a much more robust assessment and accountability reform bill than HB 4402 was last session, which was exciting. And we saw that bill pass out of the House with 143 votes, an incredible stand of bipartisan unity behind a really strong bill. This time that bill didn't die in the Senate. It in fact went through the Senate Education Committee where, yes, it picked up changes, but a version of the bill was passed out of the Senate floor, which meant that we were able to get to that finish line, that close to the finish line place of a conference committee. And while we didn't get it all the way across the finish line this legislative session, we're in a really good position to pick this work back up in the legislative session to come. And here's a perspective I want to offer, which is that part of your participation in this call to action helped to ensure that instead of getting a bad bill that could have taken a lot of the momentum out of this work, we got no deal at all. And sometimes in the political process, no deal is better than a deal that's just a lot less than what you were hoping for. So we're gonna get back at it in the 90th legislative session, and we need you to be in this work with us. So here's what I'm hoping you'll do. Please click the link in the caption to do two things. One, to find out who your representatives are. Take a minute to drop them a quick email. Tell your House member thank you for all the work that you did on accountability this session, and you hope to see this progress continue in 2027. Tell your senator that you appreciate that the Senate took this bill up this time around, and that you hope to see more movement towards those two things we asked for: a norm reference test and additional indicators, so that we're not grading all our elementary and middle school campuses 100% on one test on one day in future legislative action. So two things: norm reference test, additional indicators, just like we had in our call to action this legislative session. And finally, if we don't know you, we really want to know you. We hope that you'll also take a minute to identify your regional advocacy director when you click on that link. And if you don't know this person already, that you'll shoot them an email, that you'll set up a time to hop on a phone call, to meet up for coffee, and to let us get to know you better in the months ahead, so that we can continue to figure out how we can partner to build the public education system that our kids deserve and that our state needs. Thank you for your partnership throughout the legislative session. We're excited to keep working together.